Hi, everybody, and welcome to our team call. Today is August 10th, 2016. We're teaming up with Marion's team, and we're doing, what is your team name? I forget.
Well, it's Team Pivot.
Team Pivot?
From the Friends episode.
Pivot? Yes. I know, yes, I know. And we're living the dream team, and I'm Julia Jackson. I'm going to share my story. Let me share my screen with you. And kind of the topic of tonight's call is how I went from a hobby to elite coach. Oh, I cleaned out my screen and I closed all my tabs. So let me open them up again. So yes, like I said, I'm going to kind of go through my process of how I took my business full bore and went and kind of went for it. So here we go. So here I am. Can you guys see that? Give me a thumbs up so I make sure the screen is working. Okay, cool. So I'm Julia Jackson. I've been a coach for 7 years, a really, really long time. I'm like old school before we had challenge packs in Shakeology. I signed up when I was 23 because I wanted to do P90X. I had gone to school for musical theater and had been able to really stay in shape through that time. But after college, I was just kind of gaining some weight. And to be really honest, I was just flailing at the gym because I didn't know what machine to get on and what to do. And so I was like, oh, P90X sounds really great. I'm a list follower. I'm kind of type A. So I'm like, if it tells me what to do and it gives me structure, I'll follow it. So I knew someone who was a coach. And so I reached out to her. I said, I want to buy that P90X. And she's like, great. If you want to sign up as a coach, I can give you a little bit of a discount. And I can teach you how to make a little bit of money on the side if you want. And I was like, okay, that was her pitch. And I was like, okay. I had always kind of had an entrepreneurial mindset. My mom was a piano teacher, single mom. And so I was always really inspired by her. She always took full responsibility for our lives and giving me a great life. And so I was like, I knew, and I was an only child. So there was a part of me that always wanted to be my own boss because I was like, I don't want someone to tell me what to do. And I was super poor at the time, poor. I went to school for musical theater, AKA I was waiting tables. So I was doing a kid show during the day, waiting tables, nannying, really throwing together ends meet. I did okay, and I have a supportive family. I wasn't on the street or anything. But for me to spend $100 on P90X was a pretty big deal. And for me to say, yes, I'm going to have a monthly fee as a 23-year-old barely out of college was kind of scary to me. But I thought, if it was selfish, which a lot of us sign up for that reason. Okay, if I can have support and community and accountability for my own fitness, then I can, that's going to help me get more fit if I'm trying to help one more person or be accountable or be that example. So long story short, I had a really long time, you guys, where I would go really full bore for maybe a couple months at a time and then back off, would let life get in the way. So I was building my business very slowly. I was definitely the tortoise of the tortoise, or no, I was what am I? The tortoise of the tortoise and the hare. It took me a really long time, and I'm going to hold off some of my story because some of it came way later. Some of my really big aha moments and my deciding came later on as a coach. And I hope that gives you some inspiration or hope if you have been a coach for a while, that it doesn't have to be this perfect thing where you sign up and you instantly know your why and then you start. And I let that get the better of me for over 5 years, really, where I was like, well, I didn't start the way I wanted to start. And so I let that hold me back for a long time. So I'm going to hold off on kind of the next section of my story. So up until that point, just very intermittent. I would have really big bursts of energy and grow my team, but then I wasn't trustworthy. I wasn't following through. I wasn't there for my team. So just very, very hit or miss as a coach for a really long time. Which leads me into my 3 topics, which sounds so cheesy because this is the slogan of Beachbody when we think about our challengers, but it so perfectly describes the process, whether it's a challenger deciding to change their fitness and going through that and having the results, or in your coaching business. And again, the thing I want to drive home is that these things can be put into place at any point, no matter where you're at or how long you've been a coach. So the first part of this, and I'm pregnant, so I'm excited and I'm already out of breath. So let me take a sip of my water. So the decision. This is the time where you have to sort of not even stop doing the work, but this has to be a very kind of self-reflective, it's the basis of everything that happens, and it gives you the reason, the springboard or the trampoline. So the actual definition from Webster's dictionary is come to a resolution in the mind as a result of consideration, which I think is that's what all of us coaches are doing all the time. Like we're like, especially if you're not fully invested in your business, it's always in your mind, it's kind of considering. And so it's like, how do you come to that place where you say either something happens or you have an aha moment, or you choose to have an aha moment that gives you the groundwork to say, this is the deciding factor. This is what I want. So it's really kind of thinking through what your decision is and how you're going to get there. So I want to share with you my aha moment, and then I want to help you guys and give you some tips, some takeaways for you to, if you haven't had that moment yet. I really believe that you can create your own aha moment. You don't have to wait for this perfect thing or this magical epiphany to happen. I think that with some self-reflection and some self-love and just kind of slowing down for a hot second, you can really discover that within yourself because it's there waiting for you. So for me, my aha moment came at my second summit. So I had been to a summit. I let a whole year pass where I was still really intermittent with my business. It was in Vegas 2014, and John Maxwell was there. And he talked about, he had amazing content throughout, but the thing that stuck with me, and I think because he said, if I leave you with one thing, it's this. And he talked about this analogy of this forest. And he said, like, if you lived in this forest and every morning you woke up and you just took one really good hard swing at this one tree and you went to bed, but you did that every single day. It's just this, you have this one tree that's in front of you, it's kind of a clearing, and there's this one tree, and you just go and you start chopping at it all day, and then you have the day. It won't take very long for that tree to fall, right? Because you're focused on the one thing. And he said vice versa. If you have 8 trees, and one day you wake up on a Monday and you go chop that one, you work on that one tree, and then you go to bed. And then Tuesday morning, you go to tree 2. Wednesday morning, you'll go to tree 3. You're spreading yourself so thin that it's going to take a really, really, really long time for those trees to fall, versus when you focus on one thing, that tree is going to fall, meaning your business. When that is your laser beam focus, is your business and sacrificing and getting to the place you want, that focus will pay off so much faster if it's one thing. And for me at the time, I was still doing, obviously not everyone can just quit their full-time jobs. And I was at a point where I wasn't able to do that either. But I had started another business in real estate because I was just nuts. And I think because I was avoiding Beachbody because I knew the potential. And I had looked at those things back to back. I'm like, I'm doing both things half-assed and not all the way well. And so I finally came to this decision, that has to go. And I don't know what those things are for you in your life. And like I said, obviously your family can't go, you can't sacrifice that. And if you can't quit your full-time job, don't do that before you're ready, because that's just dumb. Unless you have some sort of financial backing. But I would really urge you guys to think about the things that are bogging you down. Maybe it's even extra TV time, or committing to a PTA, or something like that that's taking your time to really clear that space. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, or I can also share these slides at the end. If you haven't had that aha moment, these are kind of some questions that can help you discover that. So it's really thinking through what lights you up about the business. So I was for me, when I was comparing real estate to Beachbody, I'm okay, both are helping people. Both have this benefit, but there was something about the Beachbody business that was, I could teach someone else how to earn income. And for me, that's my favorite part of the business is and I love health and fitness, and I get such a high to help someone lose even 3 pounds, whatever it is. But there's something that I love so sincerely about teaching anyone how to run a business and earn income, that I was okay, that really lights me up. What else lights me up about the business? I don't have to be anywhere at a certain time, whereas real estate, I had to be present. I'm I don't want to have anyone tell me where to be, because that's still what was happening, even though I was my own boss. And I thought the residual income of Beachbody is better than real estate, because every year I don't start back at 0. I start even further than I was last year. So really thinking through, or maybe it's just the community, maybe it's the way you feel when you sign up a challenge, or that high, just really thinking through those things, what brings you joy in the business, and what makes you feel good about this business. And then thinking about really getting down to your why. And that's a whole nother topic on its own, but what is your why? And you have to think about a why that makes you cry. And it can either be a why, like I was, when I made that decision, now it's kind of a full circle moment. I thought, when I have a child, I want to be fully present. I don't want to be running off to real estate appointments or running off to a restaurant. I want to be fully present and alive in that moment. And that really made me emotional. So finding something, a why that makes you cry. It can also be a pain point. So there's a why that sticks with me a lot. And it was that I didn't want to go back to waiting tables, because as much as I liked it, there were great people. I tried to make the best of it. But I go to this place that I used to work, and I walk in there and I'm like, oh, I can't go back here. And so it can be a negative why that can really skyrocket you to be like, I'm not going back there. So I really urge you to not wait and to create your aha moment, because if you're just thinking about it and journaling and forever and ever and ever, and you're not engaging in the business and you're not engaging, you're not going to find that clarity. And so that's one of my favorite quotes. It's Marie Forleo, and she talks about clarity comes from engagement. So it's that idea of not just waiting to learn to maybe get ready to study to maybe do something someday. It's I'm just going to do it. And the clarity and that vision is going to come through as I'm doing that business. So really, truly, that has to start. Your why has to be pivotal, because when that why is clear, when you're worried about sending an invite or worried about how you're going to look, you're still going to send it because you have something that's a driving force underneath you. And for me at that point, it was okay, now's the time. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to retire my husband. This is what it's going to feel like. This is what it's going to look like. And so for me, as I made that transition into being a serious business builder, it was a very clear, pinpointed why that I was that's why I'm working 7 hours today instead of 2, or that's why I'm sacrificing this or not doing that. So that's really the base of all this, because if that decision doesn't get made, you're just going to be kind of half-assing everything. So let's move on to the commit. So this is where the meat of it happens. And like I said, when the why is clear, and I said the how is easy, I wouldn't say that the how is easy, but it becomes easier because you have a driving force. So the definition of commit, what did I do? The definition of commit is to carry out or perpetuate. So, and I've been rereading The Compound Effect. I don't know how many people have read that book. If you haven't, you need to get your hands on it 2 weeks ago. I've been rereading that, and it's about taking small, very minuscule, kind of seemingly insignificant tasks and putting them together. And I think I started to see that last year, and I was because, hitting elite and that stuff kind of came in the rest of the year because I had doubts the whole time, but I knew if I'm consistent in this, it's what's the meat? What are you actually going to show up and do? So it's great to have a why, and it's great to be all empowered, but then what are you going to work? Are you going to start working? So this is all the stuff we mostly train and talk about in the business. It's the organization of your business. What are your tasks you need to do every day? What does your power hour look like? What's your schedule and your business hours, your priorities? How are you recruiting and bringing people into the business? Because without that, you're not building a business. Recruiting is the lifeblood. What are you doing on your social media? How are your 4 vital behaviors? Are you following those? The power of tens, which I'm going to show you a little tracking system I use, or anything, Asana, Teamzy. I've recently fallen in love with Teamzy. I love it. Having an accountability partner. And if you don't have a good power hour, especially because most people do this business and work a full-time job and have families, it's not everyone just has hours and hours and hours on end. There's a great wake-up call by Stephanie Chico that I highly recommend, and she really breaks it down in a simple form. So it's finding what makes you consistent. What are you going to show up and do every single day? So some sort of tracking system. So our team sometimes uses this. It's a great little, okay, I'm adding 10 friends, which is a lot. But if you want to go for a leader, if you want to push for big goals or diamond or star diamond, you have to be doing more than other people. So adding 10 friends, inviting 10 people every single day, forming, which is kind of I know Marian teaches a ton about forming, but really starting conversations, engaging, building a relationship. You guys, you can't just invite someone and expect them to buy something from you that day. It can take months, it can take years, or my mom who just signed up to be a coach, it could take 7 years. You never know. And then you're following up. The fortune is in the follow-up for sure. I'm going to check the chat real quick because it looks like it's blowing up. Is there anything I needed? Okay, cool. Okay, Teamsy. We love Teamsy. So with the follow-up, just being a long-term friend, starting conversations, these are all the things you guys know, but you have to do them every single day. And again, the compound effect teaches that. If it kind of feels like, oh, I'm going, every day for a week and I just like, I haven't hit Success Club yet. It's like, you have to keep going. You have to have that big picture in mind. When you think about your social media, like I really started upping my game in terms of just being authentically me and making my social media for me. Like I went to school for theater, so I'm very artsy. Like I like to slap a filter on there. I like to make it pretty. I like it to be engaging. And one of the best tips I have, social media, again, is a whole other topic on its own. But picking like some topics, some things that you really love, like maybe, well, I know on Marion's team, like a lot of you guys like fashion, and our team loves theater and music, and we love Beyonce, and things like whatever it is that you want to post about, really sharing authentically you. So people, and I say this all the time to my team, but people do not join a business, they join a person. And so what is it about you that's going to attract them, like your ideal market, to you? So really upping your social media game and putting out quality content that adds value to other people's lives, that gives them a tip or a tool or a recipe or something they can implement, and showing them. A great tip I got I listened to a bunch of YouTube videos of Bonnie Ingalls, and she always talks about her social media. If someone goes there that they don't know her, in her last, maybe 6 to 10 posts, do they know that she runs challenge groups that they can join? Like, is that clear that she has fitness and accountability groups? Is it clear that she runs an in-home fitness business that anyone can do, that it's a learned business? And what was the third one? Those two. And then just like, is she a light? Is she someone that they would want to follow and they're inspired by? So I think those are really good rules of thumb. And if you guys haven't stalked Bonnie Ingle on YouTube, I highly recommend it. She has great recruiting calls and great tips for social media. So within the commitment part, let's move on to personal development, because I don't know if I need to say more than this, but your business will only rise to the level of success that you have invested in personal development. So you can outwork everyone, but if you're not working on the inside, it reads. So you're going to have to really get kind of up close and personal, and make your personal development personal. Like maybe everyone's reading You Are a Badass, but like you don't struggle with confidence. Maybe you need to learn about marketing, so you need Jab, Jab, Right Hook. Whatever it is, make your personal development personal. Or if you're struggling with an eating disorder, maybe that's your place of personal development, is to really learn about food, and that can be your niche so that you can teach other people that. So I think that this is the most valuable part of the business, and the piece that can go so easily like on the side or on the back burner, because it doesn't feel like it pays off, but you think you're fine until you're not, and you haven't done enough personal development to be able to pick yourself up off the floor. And so it's really learning in this business. Like you're in this, it's hard. You're an entrepreneur, you're in this business, you have a team of coaches, but if you want to do it, you're doing it alone. And so it's learning how to discipline your disappointment as fast as possible so you get over setbacks. And scripts. And Marion, I hope I'm not going to offend you, because I know you don't like scripts, but I love scripts. Here's the thing about scripts. You cannot take a script, copy it word for word, and expect it to work. If you do not put your own message within it, and you do not put a personal message to that person, it's going to read like a robot. So be very careful with scripts. And I like to have some templates for scripts, but the most important thing that I teach my people is that you take the script, you toss it around in your head, or do it on a voice text. How would you sound when you said that? So take it as an example, but don't take it word for word, because people can see right through that. People are so smart on social media, and there's so much crap that is tossed at them, that they are very clear about deciphering whether things are kind of bullshit or whether they're going to be genuine. And so this is a place that through a script, it helps kind of ease that burden, especially for a new coach, to say, I don't even know where to start or what to say, but just make sure that you've spent time having a conversation with them, that you've formed them, that you have a relationship, that they've given you something that leads into this being a good fit. So don't just come at them with a cheesy salesy script. That's not what I'm saying here, but use scripts as a template. I'm gonna check the chat box again really quick. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool, Marion. I was like, I don't want to make you mad. Okay, so, and within personal development, I think, what we focus on expands. So if you're thinking, crap, I'm not going to hit Success Club. Like, I'm just like, it's almost the end of it's the 10th of the month and like, I'm not going to hit Success Club. You're not going to hit Success Club because you're already focusing on that negative outcome. And a tip I learned from this great book, it's called The Desire Map by Danielle Laporte. And she said, it's not worth shouting affirmations at yourself that you don't believe, but you can say, I want to believe. So if you're worried about hitting Success Club or worried about your business, say, I want to believe that I will hit Success Club. I want to believe that I'm capable, because that puts you in tune with reality in terms of you do want that. But if you're shouting out like, I know I can hit Success Club, I know I can do it, and you don't feel like that, that's really that's out of alignment. So, and so many people focus on like what they're missing rather than what they have. And it's like such a subtle shift, but you want to really take some time to train your brain to focus on what you do have, because that will expand. And then the last thing is, are you focusing on, and especially as you start to grow a bigger team, you start realizing this because you can't control what people are doing, but are you focusing on what you can control, like what's actually in your control, and making a list of that sometimes, even to say like, these are the things that are within my control and these are the things that I can't, because so often we spend all of our time focusing on the things that we actually have no power over. And we miss out on recruiting other coaches or growing our team or helping someone who does want our help because we're so focused on that person. So often, like, I think that's just human nature. We start thinking about the things we don't want to have happen. And it's so sad, but the law of attraction means that those things are going to be brought to you. So it's just really taking some self-evaluation and being like, ooh, I'm thinking about what I don't want to have happen. How do I switch that? And that takes some discipline and some time to kind of realize even what you're doing. So decide, commit, and then succeed. So I want to talk about the difference between success and fulfillment. And this is a principle Tony Robbins talks about a ton. I had a really big epiphany last summit. I worked my tushy off and I went 5-star before June so that I could walk across the stage and get my name read. And it was very interesting because they read my name out loud and I walked across and I felt nothing. Like that's to be really honest with you guys, that's what I worked for. I wanted the recognition. I wanted to look cool. I wanted my team to think I was cool. And I did, and I walked that stage and I was like, wah, wah. And I think it's because I had these two things kind of mixed up and messed up. So the definition of success is to achieve the desired aim or result, right? Like push, get this thing because you want it, strive for it, hit your goal, which is great. But the idea is that success, if you're doing it the right way, should create fulfillment in your life and make you feel good. Where when I walked across that stage, that success did not fulfill me. That did not do what I wanted. And so if I wasn't self-evaluating and doing personal development, I would have said, well, it's 10-star. That's what's going to make me feel really cool. And I know for a fact that's not what is going to make me feel. So it's really realizing that difference between success and fulfillment. So the definition of fulfillment is satisfaction or happiness as a result of fully developing one's abilities or character. And that to me feels so much better. And that was a big lesson for me because I have a lot of red in me. I don't know if you guys do the color codes, but that was a real driving factor. And I had to really be like, okay, for me personally, I can't do it for that because that didn't do what I wanted it to do. And so it's making sure your goals are in alignment with what's going to make you genuinely happy, and your rank, your worth is not defined as your rank, as your paycheck, as your income, any of that stuff. Like if it all went away, like that's not who you are at the core. So make sure that you're doing this for the right reason. Because if you think, oh, I'm going to go elite and then I'll feel like I'm a capable, great human, you're so wrong and you're going to be so disappointed. But if you go into it and say, I know it's because, and these are my new reasons, is because I want to make my team proud, because now I realize 5-star wasn't me, it was our team. There's these different kind of ways to think about it. And if all that fell away and the medals go away and the title goes away, are you still going to be happy and satisfied with the work you're doing in this world as a coach? And I think that's was a really hard lesson for me to learn. So the smartest people don't have to learn their own lessons. They listen to other people. So take my lesson and don't let that be you. So that's really what Tony Robbins talks about, is that success without that fulfillment, without that true, genuine joy of being happy, it's the ultimate failure. That's why you see so many people, get to these high places, these movie stars, and they throw their lives away on drugs because they're actually, they look successful from the outside, but they're not fulfilled deep down. And okay, last 3 things are 3 ways to kind of stay in this beautiful state and kind of keep that in perspective as you push for your goals, as you work really hard. Because I'm an advocate. Like, I love growth. Like, I don't want to just be like, la-ti-da-ti-da, I'm grateful and I'll just sit back and my life will be what it is. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I'm all about growth. And if you're not growing, you're not living, because that's what life is about. But it is being able to stop and kind of like appreciate what you have. So that's step 1. And these sound so simplistic, but I hope that I can drive that home as like this. They're easy to do. These things are easy to do and they're easy not to do. So if you're kind of finding yourself in that stress state, really take some time to appreciate and enjoy what you have right now. And again, it's thinking about the things you have versus the things you don't have, and really just like, whether it's writing it down or praying or meditating, really just getting in tune with what you are blessed with. And maybe you have one coach on your team and she's doing a challenge group and you want to help her. Like, if it's one person, or maybe it's not even in the business, it's your family, it's your home, it's the food you're able to have. What can you appreciate in the here and now? And then constantly learning and growing, because when you're fueling your mind, learning, whether it's the business, whether it's, personal development, you're expanding, and that does grow your business. And you can't see the results pay off right away, but people notice changes in you. They notice the way you talk differently or the way you treat them. And it's all about expansion and growth. Like, that's the point of life. And then just love and give with nothing attached, like no strings attached. And that's hard to do in our business. It's like, okay, do I let this person in because they haven't bought anything? Do you, it's finding those little moments to say, I was put on this earth to give, and like, I can't really expect anything in return. And the beautiful thing is, when you do that, abundance comes. So it's not doing it because you're like, well, I'll give so that I look good, so that it'll come to me. But it's really like getting your heart to a place where you actually want to give that, and you're letting go of the expectations, and truly show your love as an action. It's not an emotion. So you're proving yourself by what you do, not what you say. That's really important. So, gosh, I talked really fast. I think that's all I have. Short and sweet. Let me check the chat box. Hold up. Serve. Yes, we are here to serve, Gretchen. Okay, cool. Well, I guess I can. I mean, we have so much time. Marian, do you have anything to tack on? Do we want to do questions? What should we do?
No, I just think that maybe, what do you think? This is just my own question, because I remember when I was a diamond, I stayed a diamond for a while. Like, how do you make that shift? I mean, you talk a lot about like the mental shift piece, but in terms of actions and activities and timing, like, how much time did you dedicate? Could you talk a little bit more about once you made that mental shift, what was different? What was the before and after, I guess?
It was more sacrifice. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and just say, well, I changed my mind and then like this followed. Like, I was like, I'm going to work harder, and like, I might not be like the most talented at this business, but I will outwork you, like, not all, cause I won't outwork Melanie Mitro. But she kind of said that at Summit. Like, she's like, you guys, I'm not in this top position because I'm more special, but she's like, I outworked you. And I think that I end up doing that as I sugarcoat. I'm like, if you just do this and this, and so I'm glad you pointed that out. So it was a real focused effort. Like, I go down YouTube rabbit holes all the time. I know Marian and I talk about that. Like, I'm constantly being like, okay, how can I recruit? How do I do this? And then I'm doing more invites. I'm doing more follow-ups. Like, it's like nitty gritty, the crap you don't want to do every day. I'm doing it no matter what. That's not like fun or glamorous. Like, it's not like, oh, I did this Facebook ad and it's perfect and I added 50 coaches. Like, I wish. I'm still waiting for that. But like, there's no magic pill. So I would say that, as well as like my leadership, I faked before I was faking it before I was making it. Like, I was like, oh, you guys, we have this great team culture and we all hit Success Club and this is what we do. And it's like not what we were doing. But I was like, I have to believe that. And so we just kind of like, as I would sign up a new coach, I'm like, okay, this is my chance to start fresh with them and say, this is what you need to do and this is what I do. And then I had to show up first. Like, I'm like, I better be leading from the front. So I better show that I've got the most Success Club points, that I'm actually sending the most invites, and like, kind of like, you know, in a good challenge group, like it doesn't work unless you're being a good challenger, right? Same with the coaches. Like I can't ask them to do what I'm not doing. So I was like, I'm going to always make sure I'm a step ahead of them, proving that I'm going to do the work. Like there's no magic. Like, I mean, I think you can get better and your skill set improves, but again, the clarity comes from engagement. Like I just was like, I was just hustling. Does that answer that?
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And I'm also thinking, because it takes hustle, but also takes long-term vision. And I can't think of a single person in our 6, 7, 8-star group that don't have like this vision, like long-term. So I'm just looking behind you, and you have your vision board back there. Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit, like share briefly with the team, like what some of the highlights are there? Oh, look at this. It's removable.
It's okay. So some of these are scary to say because I might not have said them out loud.
It's okay. So, we're in the nest. We're in a safe place.
Okay, we're totally in a safe place. So I have 15-star by Summit 2017. And here's the thing. I'm not all the way rank driven. Like that to me, like is bonus. Like I'm like, oh, I want $40,000 because my husband said I could buy a luxury car if I get that bonus. So I want that. But like, I know that if I'm doing the right, like I found that balance for me, that it's not all about rank, but I know that if I'm doing the right things, if I'm treating people good, and if I'm teaching them well, there's no reason I can't do that. I have recruit 10 coaches monthly. I want to earn $200,000. I want to have a healthy baby. That's what I put. And I want to take rest and have good rest and meditation time and good stuff for me. Do a focused power hour 5 days a week. Go out with a friend once per week, because I did this business to be free, not be a slave, right? I will pay off our home by 2022. That's my big vision right now. That's scary, but sounds great. I want a downline of 3,000 coaches. Luxury car. And here's the thing, you guys. These are, if you haven't read the desire map, you have to, because she talks about some of the goals I have on here very like, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this. And that's that same 5-star thing for me. So I have to be very careful that I'm in alignment. But like these things, they fit how I want to feel. And I want to feel expansive. I want to feel nourished. I want to feel, you know, and she helps you go through like what that is, and abundant. And I want to feel like I'm making a difference. And to me, 15-star means that I'm making a difference in 15 people's lives. So it's like really making sure that those goals feel good and that they align. I want to try new restaurants in Denver. I want to make new friends. I want to sleep 10 hours a night. I don't think that's going to happen with the baby, but right now that's happening. So I don't. And I try to look at this every day, because I think that really helps to keep it in perspective. When I'm like, oh, I don't want to send this invite. I'm like, well, would I rather not send this invite, or would I rather pay off my house? Like, I want to do that because I want to feel free. Like, that's what I want. That's why I did this business. I didn't do this business to make more money and then spend more money and be in debt. I did it so I could be free. So those are my goals.
Oh my God, I love you. Has anyone ever told you that you're like an actress?
Oh, no.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. You're amazing.
You are. I love your team. I got to meet some peeps at Super Sunday.
I know.
Some of the old peeps.
All right. Well, you recorded this.
I did. I'll put it up on YouTube.
Okay.
I'll send you the link, and I can send you these slides if you want them to.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Love you all. Thanks for coming on.
I know my team loves you. They're already messaging me and telling me how much you are amazing. And
they're like, that girl is crazy.
Like, she talks so fast. Oh my God, I love her so much. All right.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a great night.
Bye, guys.